There is a bean that can produce more protein per square foot than raising cattle. It does not need farmland, synthetic fertilizer, or even direct sunlight. It can grow to harvest in only 5 days right on your windowsill. NASA once studied it for use in space stations. The United Nations described it as one of the most promising food crops of the 20th century. Yet despite all of that praise, it nearly disappeared from public awareness in the West. Today, most people walk through supermarkets believing protein must come from expensive meat, eggs, or highly processed powders. They stand in the meat aisle, look at the price tags, and quietly do mental math. Many pick up a package, hesitate, and put it back. But just a few blocks away, inside an ordinary apartment kitchen, someone could be producing fresh protein with nothing more than seeds, water, and a shallow tray. No refrigeration, no supply chain, no dependence on rising prices. This forgotten crop has been hiding in plain sight for decades. It grows quickly, feeds efficiently, and can turn a tiny indoor space into a renewable food source. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly what it is, why the world ignored it, and how you can grow your own continuous harvest at home using only 5 minutes a day. The plant behind this story is called the winged bean. Botanists know it by the scientific name Psophocarpus tetragonolobus. Its unusual name comes from the 4 wing-like ridges that run along its pods, giving the vegetable a striking geometric shape. Across Asia and the Pacific, however, it has never been just a scientific curiosity. It has been a practical food source for generations. In the Philippines, farmers know it by different local names depending on the region. In Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, and other parts of Southeast Asia, it appears in markets as a familiar ingredient rather than a rare discovery. In Papua New Guinea, where it has been cultivated for more than 2,000 years, the plant carries many traditional names. Each name reflects local knowledge about cooking methods, climate, soil, and survival. For the communities that continued growing it, the winged bean never vanished at all. What vanished was Western attention. During the 1970s, scientists began taking a closer look at underused crops that could help solve global nutrition problems. In 1975, the National Academy of Sciences gathered agricultural experts to identify tropical plants with exceptional potential. Out of many candidates, the winged bean stood out. Their later report used rare enthusiasm for a scientific publication. They called it a supermarket on a stalk. The phrase was memorable because nearly every part of the plant could be eaten. Young pods, mature seeds, leaves, flowers, and underground tubers all had food value. For a moment, it seemed like this crop might become globally important. Researchers studied it. Development programs promoted it. Many believed it could reshape how protein was produced in the future. Then, somehow the excitement faded. The winged bean is remarkable because it does not offer only one edible product. It offers many. That is why researchers considered it so valuable. The young pods can be cooked like green beans and have a fresh, crisp texture. The leaves provide nutrients comparable to leafy vegetables such as spinach. Even the flowers can be eaten and used in salads or cooked dishes. Beneath the soil, the plant forms tubers that contain surprisingly high protein levels. Some analyses place these tubers near 20% protein, far above common potatoes, which are usually much lower. But the true nutritional powerhouse is the seed. Studies published in food science journals have measured winged bean seeds at roughly 29 to 42% protein, depending on the variety and growing conditions. That puts them in the same serious conversation as soybeans and other protein-dense staples. By dry weight, this can rival or exceed many familiar food sources. And protein quantity is only part of the story. During germination, the seed becomes even more useful. As the bean sprouts, dormant enzymes activate. Stored starches begin converting into simpler sugars. Natural compounds that can reduce protein digestion, such as trypsin inhibitors, may drop sharply. Protein digestibility improves, meaning the body can absorb more of what is already there. Vitamin content can rise as well. Dry seeds contain little vitamin C, but after several days of sprouting, measurable increases may occur. In simple terms, the seed transforms from storage food into living nutrition. There is another reason this crop impressed scientists. It belongs to the legume family. Like many legumes, it can form root nodules with bacteria that help capture nitrogen from the air. This natural partnership can reduce the need for external fertilizer. That means the winged bean is not only nutrient-rich, it is efficient to grow. It can feed people while demanding fewer outside inputs than many conventional crops. A plant that provides edible pods, leaves, flowers, tubers, and high-protein seeds while helping nourish its own soil should have become famous. Instead, most people have never heard of it. So why did a crop with this much potential fail to become mainstream in many Western countries? The answer may have less to do with biology and more to do with economics. The winged bean has several traits that make it excellent for resilience and food security. In warm climates, it can behave like a perennial, returning year after year. It can help support its own fertility through nitrogen fixation. It can produce multiple edible parts instead of just one harvest product. And when grown for sprouts, it can generate fresh food indoors with almost no space at all. These qualities are wonderful for households. They are less exciting for systems built around repeated purchases. Modern industrial agriculture often depends on a chain of ongoing inputs: patented seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, transport, refrigeration, packaging, and retail distribution. Many profits are created along that chain. A crop that asks for less can sometimes receive less attention. During the 1980s, research stations in tropical regions explored improved varieties and cultivation methods. Development groups promoted the bean as a way to strengthen diets where meat was expensive or unreliable. For a short time, it looked as though the plant might expand globally. Then funding priorities changed. Programs closed. Researchers moved on to other projects. The winged bean continued growing in traditional regions where people already understood its value, but the promised international breakthrough never arrived. That does not mean the crop failed. It means the spotlight moved elsewhere. Today, as food prices rise and more people search for practical ways to grow nutrition at home, the winged bean deserves a second look. Sometimes the best solution is not new technology. Sometimes it is old knowledge waiting for the right moment to return. Now let's talk about the most practical part: how to grow winged bean sprouts at home in only 5 days. You do not need a farm, garden bed, or expensive equipment. A small kitchen setup is enough. First, get untreated seeds suitable for sprouting. These can often be found in Asian grocery stores, seed exchanges, or online sellers. Buy clean, dry seeds with no chemical coating. A single bag can provide many harvest cycles. Second, inspect the seeds. Remove any that are cracked, moldy, damaged, or unusually dark. Weak seeds are more likely to fail or contaminate the batch. This step takes less than a minute, but improves your results. Third, soak the seeds. Place them in a bowl or jar and cover them with room temperature water. Use roughly 3 times more water than seed volume because the seeds will expand as they absorb moisture. Let them soak for 12 to 24 hours. Too little soaking can reduce germination. Too much can encourage unwanted bacterial growth. Fourth, drain and rinse thoroughly. Never leave the seeds sitting in stagnant water after soaking. Excess water is the fastest route to mold and bad odors. Fifth, move the seeds into a container with drainage. This could be a sprouting tray, a colander lined with cloth, a perforated box, or any shallow container with holes that allows water to escape easily. Drainage matters more than the container itself. Sixth, place the container in indirect light or shade. Direct sunlight can overheat the seeds, dry them unevenly, and encourage bitterness. A countertop away from the window often works perfectly. 7th, rinse twice each day, once in the morning and once at night. Use clean water, wet all the seeds, then drain completely. Each rinse removes waste compounds, refreshes moisture, and brings oxygen into the system. Consistency is the secret. 8th, watch the timeline. Around day 2, tiny roots begin to emerge. By day 3, the roots lengthen and the seed halves start to open. Around day 4, the cotyledons expand and the sprouts become fuller. Day 5 is usually the ideal harvest point before too much energy shifts into long stems and roots. To harvest, cut the sprouts at the base or lift the entire mat if grown in a tray. Rinse once more, drain well, and store them in the refrigerator in a container lined with paper towel. They are usually freshest within the first 48 hours. The smartest trick is simple. Start your next batch on the same day you harvest the first one. With 2 rotating containers, you can create a continuous supply of fresh protein year-round with only a few minutes of effort each day. Now let's put this into perspective. One small window box running on a 5-day cycle can produce repeated harvests of edible sprouts throughout the year. Over time, that adds up to a meaningful amount of fresh plant protein from a space smaller than a shelf. Compare that with conventional meat production. To produce the same amount of protein through beef requires land, feed, water, veterinary care, transport, slaughter, refrigeration, packaging, and distribution. It is a long chain with many costs and many points of failure. Your sprouting setup requires seeds, water, a container, and a few minutes of attention. That is a radically different model. This is why home sprouting matters beyond nutrition. It represents independence. When food systems become expensive or unstable, the ability to produce even part of your own essential nutrition becomes valuable. Seeds can be stored, water is often available, time can be managed, knowledge can be repeated. That is a form of food sovereignty, the power to create nourishment within your own living space, instead of depending entirely on outside systems. Not through complicated technology, but through a simple biological process that humans have used for generations. The winged bean also carries a deeper lesson. Useful solutions do not always become popular solutions. Sometimes the most effective answer is ignored because it is quiet, local, inexpensive, and difficult to commercialize at scale. But a seed does not care about markets. It responds to moisture, temperature, and time. Give it those 3 conditions, and it transforms itself into fresh food. So if this video opened your eyes, subscribe to Botanical Vault for more forgotten plants, practical growing methods, and real food resilience strategies. And if you start your first batch today, come back and share your results. Tell us which day you harvested and how the flavor turned out. Because knowledge becomes real the moment it leaves the screen and enters your kitchen.